Hey, Blocksters, welcome to the Blockchain Hustler, a show where we talk to the leading founders, creators, celebrities, and disruptors who are hustling in Web3. Today's guest is Brittany Kaiser. Brittany is an entrepreneur, activist, and globally recognized expert in data protection, technology, and legislative reform. She is the Cambridge Analytica whistleblower and the main subject of Netflix's documentary, The Great Hack. She's the co-founder of Own Your Data Foundation, which advocates for citizens reclaiming their data. She is also the co-founder of the Digital Asset Trade Association, where she assists in legislative drafting on laws that protect individuals' digital rights, as well as providing legal definitions for uses of digital assets and blockchain technology. She's the chair of the board for Griffin Digital Mining, one of the world's largest Bitcoin mining companies, and she has helped to raise more than $100 million in cryptocurrency for Ukraine's war against Russia. Brittany, oh my gosh, you're incredible. Thank you so much for being here and joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Kaylee. Happy to be here.
So happy to have you. And my gosh, you're such a pioneer in Web3. You truly do embody a Blockster, which is what we call a blockchain hustler, in an industry that moves so quickly and is being built by pioneers, just revolutionizing so many aspects of our everyday lives through this new technology. How would you describe just the culture and overall lifestyle of Web3?
Well, what I think is so incredible about people in this industry is how fast everybody moves. Obviously, with emerging technologies, they're always moving more quickly than traditional industries or government or law or policy, for that matter, which sometimes causes friction between the blockchain industry and other people. But I feel like I've spent most of my time since going full time into digital assets helping smooth that friction out and working at the intersection between legislation, regulation, and policy, and of course, the industry itself. So I don't just do legislative drafting and lobbying, but I do a lot of education and awareness, workshops, lectures all around the world to bring more people into this industry, and of course to make sure that there's regulation that allows blockchain entrepreneurs to be successful, meaning that our companies aren't going to be taken away from us needlessly. We don't have needless obstacles, but of course we can protect people in this industry from bad actors. And we see that come out every cycle. Every time there's a hype cycle, more regulation is needed, and that's why I spend so much of my time with legislators, but also building as many blockchain products as possible.
Right. Oh my gosh. And how have you personally seen the adoption of blockchain technology revolutionize how things are done with companies or projects that you've recently worked with that you think will be adopted, hopefully in the mainstream sooner than later?
Well, I think while I was full time in the data science industry, my big problem with the way that data science works is that it is not consensual. Really, the way that legacy technologies function is to be extractive, which is to take digital assets from every user, every consumer, every citizen, and use them to create revenue that only goes to the top of the supply chain. And so, as a producer of the world's largest asset class, all of us as individuals don't actually see any rewards from the amount of work that we do and data that we share. And the whole point of Web3 is to flip that model on its head, which is to say that if you are producing valuable data, time, attention, which is all considered work in terms of the data science side, then with your proof of work, doesn't have to be a proof of work consensus, but with your proof that you are sharing digital assets, you are then rewarded. And there's an incentive to actually spend time using people's technology products. That completely is the opposite of the way that, Facebook and Google and Amazon have traditionally worked. And, this kind of revolution means that everyone around the world has time, even if they don't have particular skills, and their time and attention can easily be monetized, where you can at least earn enough every day using Web3 products right now to pay for your groceries and take care of your family. And that is completely revolutionary and really changes the way that most things are done.
Incredibly revolutionary. And gosh, before your documentary, The Great Hack, people weren't aware of the inner workings of data mining, and now owning and controlling your own data is on everybody's watch. Um, what's your advice for people who don't know much about where their data is going, how it's being used, and what steps can people take now to just be more in control of their data?
So I really feel like since the Cambridge Analytica Facebook scandal, there's been a lot more awareness globally, especially after both The Great Hack and The Social Dilemma became the most popular movies of all time, even surpassing fiction films in the amount of people around the world that have actually seen these films that just concentrate on the issues with big tech. And really that's brought about a whole other level of awareness of the common person and a whole other kind of exponential growth of the crypto industry, where people that are technical or even non-technical people that like working in technology have come into this space or this industry to build products that they see as more ethical, more socially impactful. And that's really an incredible opportunity, because I've started to see talent from all these other industries come into digital assets, and it's really because of the essential problems that are being solved by these products. Now we're hopefully over the next couple of years, you're going to see it becoming so much easier to protect your data, to own your data. Right now the problem is it's kind of clunky to protect all of your personal information. You're going to have to do everything from switching the main technology products that you use, switching from Google and Facebook to, Signal and Elixir, whatever it happens to be, and using Brave browser and DuckDuckGo instead of traditional browsers. It's just it's a big move for a lot of people, especially when their companies make them use certain products for their jobs. And there are tons of products where you just don't have a choice over what data you share. But what I really like to ask people to do when they start their journey to be more digitally conscious or digitally intelligent is to first just look at the apps that are on your phone. You probably have 50 to 100 apps, and there's going to be a big chunk of those that you only downloaded to use once for one purpose. Yet you continually are still giving your data for all of the purposes that they've hidden in their terms and conditions. So I really think it's shocking to people if they actually take the time to read the terms and conditions. Try to read at least one, because most people never have. So if you try to read one, you'll find it's probably 50, 60 pages long. It's written in what we call legalese, which means it's meant for the common person to not understand what they're giving away. And then you're going to be sharing your contacts, your videos, your photos, access to your microphone and your camera 24/7, sometimes when you're not using the app, 24/7 access to your live location. All of these issues are, something that most people will never think about. And so it's really when we switch the products that we're using and we change the way that they work, we change the essential data architecture on the back end, that we start to be able to protect ourselves from everything from, disinformation to the targeting of children to, incitement of violence. All of these are huge issues on social media and even, on our search browser, no matter which one you use, unfortunately. And so I think that we're really getting to a place where these things are changing, and that's really why I spend so much of my time investing in the development of distributed ledger technologies, whether that be crypto, blockchains, quantum resistant encryption in blockchain. Like the whole range of projects are interesting to me.
Oh my gosh. Like beyond just the apps and the browsers getting our data, obviously social media is such a huge topic. And I love that just your huge purpose behind the work that you do is making sure like everyday social media users in Web 2 who don't know these things become aware, own their data, and just learn where their data is being used. And my question is just what is your prediction for the future of Web 2 social platforms? Specifically, do you think they'll fade away? New decentralized social platforms will arise soon. Maybe you know of some already in the works.
So I have always been someone who would prefer older companies to change the way they do their business than for new companies to pretend like they're going to replace the behemoths anytime soon. But unfortunately, what I've seen over the past 4.5 years is that, companies like Facebook are not that interested in changing their business model or spending the amount of investment that it would take to actually fix the main problems that they have in their architecture. So I do believe that if Web2 companies do not implement Web3 strategies, that eventually they will become obsolete. But I don't like eventually. It's an unknown amount of time, and I really want to see people being able to own and control their most powerful assets as soon as possible, which is why I work across, legislation and education and technology development all at the same time. Because I think, education is generational. Once we start teaching kids in school how technology actually works, they're going to choose the models that reward them and that protect them. But that's not what we were taught when we were younger. So I think implementing this into schools is essential. Secondly, the legislative and regulatory aspect. Obviously, it takes a long time to pass laws and to have those laws actually be implemented. So again, that's faster than generational education, but is still kind of slow. Implementing new technology products is immediate. If I start using a different phone that allows me to own all of my data, and I'm using a smart contract through my digital identity to license data that is safely and securely anonymized, and is modeled and is used and can earn me money without me giving away any of my personally identifiable information, then great. And there are a lot of products that are starting to come out on the market exactly like that out of the Web3 space. So it's really, we'll see over the coming years that there's going to be a proliferation of these products, which means it should be easier for us to choose to use them. As I said, I have to admit that right now it's not easy to protect or own your data, but it's not impossible. And every day it becomes simpler and becomes more ubiquitous in consumer products.
Mm. And I want to shift into NFTs now. Just what are the trends that you're noticing with NFT communities, and what's your prediction for the future of NFT utility?
I feel like there's two separate use cases for NFTs, and one is using your NFT as a membership to a community. And so whether that be a community that invests in projects together, whether that be a community that has an artistic brand that they're developing, whether it's a community that all maybe have a private members club together. There are so many different applications because there are communities of all types. And instead of just having the title of membership, you actually have the technical capability to prove that you are a member, like a membership card or a member's number to tons of traditional models. That has been one of the most fun and general applications of NFTs, where people think of NFT communities, right? You are buying an NFT to join a community, and it allows you to vote and participate, and both online and in real life, in the types of activities that DAO is representing. Now, the second would be rights and basically signing a digital contract. So obviously, a smart contract is a self-executing digital contract, but it doesn't, by its nature, reflect a paper contract unless you make it so. So in a smart contract, you can put rights, you can put commercial rights, marketing rights, ownership rights, rules, regulations, rules of use. It's so important when we think about that in the art world in terms of music, traditional art, and ascribing value and rights around the image or video or other kind of digital content asset that you might be licensing. It's now becoming even popular for NFTs to represent real estate, real estate, houses, commercial properties, yachts, whatever it happens to be. And so again, and the legal enforceability of smart contracts is why some people are using NFTs. And then, as I said, otherwise it's membership of a community. Both are incredibly exciting, and I'm involved in tons of projects on both sides. But I really think the trend is towards more utility. And so the more utility your NFT has, so whether it's like signing a paper contract that gives you those rights and privileges that a paper contract would, or it allows you to be part of a community, both digitally and in real life. That's where people are really going towards, not just traditional collectibles, because I feel like some of the big boom of last year was collectibles, and that area of the industry has lost a little bit of steam. A collectible for just the point of collecting, unless it's an incredibly famous artist, and you're even seeing famous artists and celebrities that are coming out with NFTs that are flopping. And it's because unless that NFT gets you the ability to be front row at all of their concerts, or have a meet and greet dinner, or something else besides just the digital piece of content, then it's not really fetching the prices that it used to. Not that the point of NFTs is about price, but from third parties that are not in the industry, that's the way that they see it.
Right, absolutely. What are some NFT projects that you're a part of that you're particularly excited about?
So I would say three of the most exciting ones are firstly, I've been involved in the first government NFT project, which was released in partnership with the Ministry of Digital Transformation of Ukraine. And this was a digital museum. It's on metahistory.gallery, where you can go and see all of the artworks, half Ukrainian, half international artists, that have been encrypted with a verified tweet of a fact of something that happened during the war. And then the smart contract includes the time, place, and location that fact occurred. And so they've created a digital museum in a timeline of how the war developed up until now. And it's incredibly moving and emotional, but it also means that all of the facts are forever encrypted on the blockchain. So no Russian disinformation campaign, no bombs can delete that. And that's incredibly important, since the history is normally written by the aggressors, not the victims. And so this is really an important project that I think will end up being repurposed in many places in the world. Secondly, another project for Ukraine, heritagehub.org. We are launching a metaverse project in order to put all of Ukraine's heritage sites in the metaverse, which is really exciting. So that's going to be everything from hand LiDAR scanning to drone scanning of, big churches, cathedrals, statues all over the country, and being able to put them in the metaverse, host events there, open source those to museums, galleries, schools around the world, so that, again, nothing can be destroyed by bombs. It's there forever. It also allows us to rebuild some of the buildings that have already been destroyed digitally, because we do have enough data for them in order to do that. Again, really exciting project. And then we can use NFT business models and metaverse events and engagement in order to raise money to actually rebuild the buildings that have been destroyed. And the first project I talked about, metahistory.gallery, all the money goes to the Ministry of Culture to rebuild cultural heritage sites that have been damaged or destroyed. Same with the second project, but it's a much bigger thing than an NFT collection, because we are putting all of these physical assets on the blockchain in the metaverse. So that's a lot bigger and more comprehensive, that it's going to take many years to actually do properly. But we're really excited about it, and we're already having partnerships with other countries that are going to use the same tech stack that we're using in Ukraine. We're doing it for the government of France next. And actually, one of our NFT projects is I've created the Archeo DAO, so for our archaeology and history buffs, where we actually we're co-investing in purchasing real estate together, and the members of the DAO basically have a membership club to host events or stay at historic sites, and we pay for their restoration costs using those projects. And the last one is Cyber Yachts, which is a super yacht project for both the metaverse and physically. So people will buy an NFT that gives them the rights to the physical, and then build it with the shipbuilders. And then the digital side means that you can actually have a metaverse business model where there are tons of concerts that are constantly going on your metaverse super yacht. And it's actually an incredible business model because you can have so many more people coming to a concert in the metaverse than you can in person. I think we found this out through a lot of the really interesting concerts that happened during the COVID shutdown. That metaverse concerts are super popular, and really can hold, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of people, which is kind of mind blowing. So even if you sell a ticket for $5, $10, $50, you're going to make quite a lot as a performer, and then also as a host. So I think it's a really incredible opportunity, especially as some people are still not traveling very much. There's still a lot of places in the world that have restrictions on events. And so, being able to allow people to have these incredible experiences in the metaverse while funding incredible impact projects is just really, really exciting. And I'm excited to see where this goes.
Wow, so many incredible projects, and what you've done for Ukraine is so inspiring. Congratulations on everything that you've been working on. It's so incredible. And something I do want your opinion on is just this market. Obviously, the market downturn, crash, whatever you want to call it, it's scared off a lot of people in the cryptoverse. Just from your perspective, what are your predictions, and do you think that this bear market will ultimately have a silver lining?
It always does. I've been in this industry for a while. I've been through this, and so have most of my friends and colleagues in the industry. The prices are way up from the first time that we got involved. So even though they're down from an all-time high, it's not really comparable to when we all joined this industry for the technology. And I know that sounds cliche for some people that were never in it for the technology, but those of us that were, that never expected to see these kinds of prices on digital assets, it doesn't really feel that bad. It feels like we now are protected from scammers for a few more months because they don't see this as a massive, a massive get rich quick scheme anymore. So we're seeing just people in the industry that are around that had sustainable business models, that had good treasury management, that were running their businesses very professionally. Although they might be hurting, they're not out of business. If you're out of business, it's because you were not planning for the future and you were not looking at the possibility of price fluctuations, which I think anyone in this industry should be planning for that at all times, and making sure that you're putting stuff into stable coins, or you're putting enough into fiat that you can have enough runway to still run your business. So I think everyone that is still here is a very serious person, is professional, will be successful, and they might have a little bit of trouble raising money for the next couple of months, but it's not going to take too long for the industry to recover enough that most of the confidence of people who are serious will return.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you recently attended the Future Shape 360 event by MetaNoise in Denver this past weekend. Just really quickly, tell us about your relationship with that community and how the event went.
Absolutely. So I was so excited to be invited to participate. The people involved with that production, the MetaNoise team, are incredible builders in the Web3 space. And when I got there, I really understood what a powerful network they're building. Really, everybody there is a builder, a serious builder, whether both digitally and physically. A lot of the people I met there are very serious in their own fields, whether they come from music or festivals or traditional art or production or whatever it happens to be. All of them are in Web3 with a different kind of background, and they're there building incredible projects and have released tons of projects. I mean, there's so many people there that were the actual person who coded a project that I collected, or that or they built the DAO that I participate in, or what have you. They're just not the main face promoting the project. So it was really cool to meet some of those people in person. That some of them I only know from their avatars on Twitter, or their name on Discord. And that was just amazing. And so I really think that the network that they've built is going to flourish really well. And I'm really excited to see how their project goes over the coming months and years to create a crypto community in Colorado, in Central City, which will soon be Decentral City. So I hear.
I love it. And you're right. It's so fun to meet the people where you only know their avatars on Twitter or, like you said, the names on Discord, and then to connect with them in person is really special.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just before we wrap up, can you, gosh, you're working on so many incredible things. What do you have coming up, and how can people follow you and follow your work?
Absolutely. So I would say you can follow me on Twitter at Own Your Data Now. That is one of the easiest ways to keep up to date with what I'm involved with. But I think most people know that I'm not a huge social media person for obvious reasons. So please do feel free to reach out to me personally, which is the best, I think, would be my Own Your Data Foundation email. So it's Brittany at ownyourdata.foundation. If you're interested in collaborating on any of these projects, would really love to have you. And soon on my Twitter, I'll be putting out the opportunity to get involved in the Archeo DAO or Heritage Hub or any of the Cyber Yachts events and productions. So we would absolutely love to have anyone that wants to get involved. As I said, just reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out more than once. My emails are crazy, but I will definitely eventually get to you, and would love to connect.
Wonderful. Brittany, thank you so much. It's so lovely speaking with you and hearing everything that you're working on and your passion for all the things that you do. And just thank you so much for your time and for joining us on the Blockchain Hustler today. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, guys.